करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
Hari Om and good morning to all. The topic for the day is as you think, so you become is the full sentence there. See, this is a irrefragable law of life, that what you experience as the world is actually created by you. Just a moment. Most of you would have seen this, I don't know, film or documentary called The Secret. It is talking about the law of attraction. You can call it the law of attraction or the law of affinity or law of love. What is interesting is, about 120 years back, Swami Ramatirtha talks about exactly the same thing. And now when you see it is in the documentary with the technology, you have the graphics, you have the quotations, you have some people talking, and it is much more effective. And what they are saying is applicable, or what they are saying is given as example more at the material level. Swami Ramatirtha explains it both at the material level and at the spiritual level also. But the law is the same. It's very, and if we get a chance, we can see it together, or I'll recommend that you also see it. It is there in the YouTube also, in English also, in other, maybe in Hindi language also it is there. Now, what is this law of love or affinity? In physical terms, we know that there is a law of gravity that is functioning. Law of gravity says that every object in this earth is attracted to every other object in this universe by a force. That force is directly proportional to the mass of the object, and it is inversely proportional to the distance between them. That means, if heavy object is there, the force of that heavy object will be more to attract other objects. If the two objects are at a great distance from each other, then the gravity force will be less. So that is why when we see the Earth's gravity, Earth is such a very heavy object, everything is attracted towards Earth when we throw something up. All other objects which we can imagine in this Earth are very light compared to Earth's weight. And what happens? Why is not Earth attracting Moon? Why is not Sun attracting the Earth? According to the distance, it is maintained like that. So, law of gravity is talking about attraction between two objects at the physical level. It is the same law of gravity that functions at the inner level, at the emotional level. And this you can say as law of affinity, or law of love, or attraction, whatever name you want to call it. This is exactly what is happening. It is your thought force also has the same power as the law of gravity. Your thoughts has the power, and whatever you are thinking of, it is that object, and that object gets attracted to you by the same law of gravity. Is the law. We may be finding it difficult first either to accept it or agree to it, but just gulp this concept for a moment and we'll try to see how it is possible. Thing is equal to think is an equation given by Ramatirtha. It's very simply he has put this equation, thing is equal to think. What it means is, whatever appears in your environment, whatever is the world that you experience, is actually created by your thoughts. Your world is a projection of your thoughts. This is a fundamental law. Whatever is your thought, accordingly your world is created. This can be verified by the fact that when there is no thought, there is no world. For example, even as you go through sleep and you enter into the state of deep sleep is a state where there is no dreams. That means no mental activity is there, no thoughts are there. In the deep sleep, what do you experience? Nothingness, shunyata. So there is no world for you to experience because there is no thoughts for you at all. So corollary is, wherever there is thoughts, only then there is world. And this, it may appear that we all of us are experiencing the same universe, but however outwardly it may appear the same, what we are all experiencing are different universes. And each and every universe that you experience is according to your thoughts only. A person, let us say, moon is the same. I'm just giving a very extreme example. Moon is the same. When a person is in a romantic mood with his lover, he sees her face in the moon. So actually he's not seeing the moon. What he projects is her face in the moon. A physicist is there, astronomer is there, the same moon is there. He is looking at through telescope, he is looking at, or he is relating to it as a satellite of Earth, as a entity where there's no atmosphere, as a solid rock or whatever it is there. That is how he is able to visualize the moon. A child is there, the child is not eating properly, the mother takes the child on her lap and she's feeding her and she's showing the moon, and the child is asking, what is the moon? What is there? It is like a big butter ball, she says. So that is the child's view of the moon. The same person, as he grows, as his thoughts change, even if the same person grows into a romantic personality in adolescent age or a youth, and he is being there with his wife or a lover, his view of the moon changes. As he becomes a science student later on in a school, his view of the moon changes. Moon is the same, but how you view it, how you experience it, even in your own lifetime, it changes based on the change of your thought. As you gain knowledge in science, your thoughts do change. As you gain more emotional personality, and that is what is fulfilling you at that point of time, your out view of that same object, which is the moon, changes. So not only according to your view at various points of time in life, different people view the same thing in a different way, because each person's thought process is different. A beautiful forest is there, two people are going, one is a hardcore businessman, let's say, maybe he's a timber merchant, and he sees this new forest and he views everything as something that he can make money out of. He can cut the trees and sell, or whatever it is, or he can request government to allot some land there, or he can purchase something there and convert it into a business activity. That is, so therefore what is standing there is object of business. That is how he views it. Another person is a poet and he is looking it in a different way and he is writing poetry out of it. This is how it is. So tree is the same, but not two people view the tree in the same way, forest in the same way. It is all according to one's vasanas, one's thought process. So it is one's thought process that creates the world. As you think, so you become. A lamb can go on the road. One person can see it as a very beautiful, innocent creature and try to fondle it. Another person can view it as a sort of a mutton that is going there, which he can cook and eat. I'm not saying either it's right or wrong. Please don't ever think that, because it is each according to each person's thought process. It can be different. That's all I'm saying. So you create your world according to your thought process. There is a story in small episode in Mahabharata. Krishna is asking Yudhishthira to find out one corrupt person or bad person in the kingdom. He says maybe something he wants to do. So he wants a corrupt person. So he tells Yudhishthira, can you find a corrupt person for me? So whatever Krishna says, others will do, or they will at least have respect and try to do. So Yudhishthira says immediately, yes sir, I will try to find out for you, and he goes out. After he goes, he calls Duryodhana and says, sir, can you find a honest person for me, good person? He also says, okay, I'll try to find out, and he goes. They search for in the whole kingdom, and then they come back in the evening, and Yudhishthira says, sorry Krishna, you asked me to find a corrupt person, a simple job you gave, but sorry, I'm not able to find any corrupt person, any bad person, he said. Duryodhana also came back a little later and he said, Krishna, I could not find one honest person in this world, in this kingdom, which probably including you, that is implied, including you, including me, everybody. He couldn't find any one good person, one honest person also. Now, what does this simple, innocuous story indicate? They all went and met the same people, right? They traveled around the same paths in this kingdom and they met more or less the same people. What it means is Yudhishthira could not see any corrupt person, any bad person, because he had no badness in his thoughts at all. Everybody was a good person only. On the other hand, Duryodhana was full of negativity that he could not see any positive person in this universe, in this world. Now, we may genuinely have a doubt here. Does that mean that bad people are not there, corrupt people? Of course, there are corrupt people there. Of course, there are good people and honest people that are there. How do we not classify it? World is made up of pairs of opposites. Good and bad will be there. Black and white will be there. And shades of grey will be there in between. So how can Yudhishthira say that there is no bad person at all? And how can Duryodhana say that there is no good person at all? See, here what we are talking about, carefully analyze, is not the inherent nature of a person. It is the way you relate to the world according to your thought process. So let us assume Yudhishthira goes around and checks. If a person is genuinely good, he will see definitely the goodness in him and he will be very happy about it. If he sees a corrupt person, if he sees a bad person, what will be his view? It is not that he is trying to view some goodness in them or something like that. He will view them as good people bereft of a guide. That is the change in thought process. Here is a 1 minute. Happy and blessed are when wickedness stands forth, revealing itself as goodness bereft of a guide. Suppose when he sees a wicked person, bad person, what he genuinely feels or what comes to his mind is that if I was also in his position, if I was also uneducated like him, if I was also having a bad parents or a bad environment that I was born and raised up, probably I will also be behaving in the same way. So actually, he is inherently a divine person, he is inherently a good person, but he is bereft of a guide. If he was also guided properly, if he was also raised properly, if he was also given values properly, he would not be behaving like this. This is how he views even a wicked person. So therefore, his inherent perception is not that the other person is wicked. His inherent perception is the other person is also divine. It is just that they need some guidance. And this is not something as objectivity he tries to do. This comes to him naturally because his mind is saturated with the goodness now. His thought process, his thought forces have come to such an extent that it is saturated with the goodness. Therefore, what he sees in the world is nothing but goodness only. So if you ask him, how is the world? He will say, beautiful. It is good. And the other person you ask, how is the world? It is extreme Kali Yuga, corruption or bad. This is what he will say. So world, remember, acts as a mirror. World acts as a mirror. And what does it reflect? It reflects your thoughts. If your thoughts are good, reflection is very good. If your thoughts are medium, the reflection is medium. If the thoughts are poor, the reflection is poor. Student's mind, therefore, reflects and gets a student's world. A politician's mind sees a political world. A fish mind will see the fish world. An animal's mind will see the animal's world. That's all it is. So it is up to you, therefore, not to change the reflection, because reflection you cannot change. All that you can do is polish your thoughts. If you change yourself, if you change your thought process, automatically the world is bound to change. All over the world, many people are trying to reform the world, change the world. Intention may be good, but it will not be effective. Swami Ramatirtha again says, changing the world is like straightening the dog's tail. It can never be straightened. You cannot change the world. But moment you start changing yourself, the moment you change your thought process, you find the world automatically changed. This works like magic actually. So therefore, it may sound theoretical in a class like this, but you have to little bit apply it in your life and see it for yourself. The moment we are able to change ourselves, the world itself becomes actually beautiful. In fact, your greatest service to the world that you can do is to evolve yourself, change your thought process. That's all it is. It is no doubt hard process. It is a difficult process. It's a long-term process. But believe me, that is the only way. And the moment you take steps towards that, it is going to change rapidly also. But we should never get deviated away from this fundamental law that it is your thoughts that needs to be changed, and automatically the world will change. And that is why in the extreme we said that when there's no thought, there is no world. It happens in two extremes. One is in deep sleep, when you are in complete ignorance, you are totally absorbed in that ignorance, no world you experience. Another is said to be in the state of self-realization, which we do not know. That person who has transcended his thoughts, that person who has dissolved all his thoughts, he does not have any world at all. For him, what is experiencing everywhere is only called as Brahman or God. So a God-realized person is one who is filled with godliness inside. He sees only godliness outside. So as you think, so you become is a irrefragable law of life. Now, with reference to what environment you create, it is according to your demand and supply. What appears in your environment is basically what you think about. Remember this. Nobody can say, sir, so much of negativity, they keep on talking, gossips they are doing. I don't want to hear this. But everybody comes and tells me this gossips. I really don't want to drink, but what to do? My friends are forcing me, and that is why I'm drinking it. Actually, I don't want. But these do come into my life, even if I don't want. You know how it works? This universe functions like the genie of the Aladdin lamp. You know, in the story of Aladdin, Aladdin gets a lamp. That magic lamp, if you rub, a genie comes out of it. And the genie has only one thing to say, sir, your wish is my command. Your wish is my command. Whatever you want, you say, that I'll do it as a command from you. So this universe is actually this Aladdin's genie. So in that story, if say Aladdin says, I want to meet this girl, immediately it brings the girl, or it takes the Aladdin to that girl. I want a palace means it will bring a palace, or it will build a palace. Immediately it will do it. Or if I want to fly to America means you can fly to America, something like that. That is the role of that genie. Now, how does that happen here? See, what you must remember is, all of us use computer. Computer has become an integral part of our life, laptop or computer. What do we generally use the computer for? Sending emails. Sending emails, use of Word and writing letters, taking printout of that, put it in Excel sheet, some calculations and tabular columns, maybe use PowerPoint. What else? It could be some tally that you are using for accounting. These are the basic functions that we have in the computer. Majority of the people. Everybody need not be a hardware engineer to know all the parts of the computer and how the hard RAM and other things are fitted into the CPU. Not everybody need to be a software engineer to understand how the program that are there inside, when you give a command, it is executing. But all that we need to know is, when I type this thing, this should happen. When I put that start button and open this, that file should come. When I open the PowerPoint and do the slides, this should come. When I need a printout, I give the command, I take a printout here. Like that is the basic general knowledge about the computer we need to know for our practical day-to-day use. But there will be very few people who are experts in hardware technology, software technology. They may know in and out of the computer. Very few people will be there. But computer is something that all of us want to use, and it is part of our lives. Exactly like that, you may not know exactly how the software of this mind functions. You may not know how the hardware of this universe reacts to it and functions, but you need to know basically what is to be input and what is to be output. Basic functions you need to know. That's all it is. So even if you do not want to get into the intricate details of what is mind, how it functions, what are the thought forces, it is all there. It may be there in yoga, it may be there in some shastras. You may not go into that extent to understand the actual technicalities of it, but you need to know what is it that I must think and how must I get it. If I want money, let us say, what is the formula for that? If I want relationship to be smooth, what is it that I should do? So basic input and output detail, if you know at least, you may want to have that awareness to train yourself towards this thought process. That much will help. Okay. So this, when we say this universe acts as a genie, it is like it takes your command, it takes your wish, it takes your thought process, it processes it and gives it you back. And when it comes to you, you have to remember the law that what is that you are getting in life is actually what you have asked for, what you have commanded. And that is where the confusion comes. No, sir, I don't want to drink alcohol, but alcohol comes to me. I don't want gossiping friends and negativity, but they do come to me. I don't want to get into these temptations. I don't want wars in the world. Wars do come. This seems contradictory. See, what we must remember is, universe does not understand the language of don't want. It only understands what is it that you are intensely focusing on and where is the thought that you are really strengthening in your system. That is why a few days back, I do not know if it was in this class or in the Deepavali class, we said celebration must be the way of life. Whether it is Deepavali, whether it is Janmashtami, whether it is Ramanavami, we have this in this Hindu calendar throughout their celebration. Even death is celebrated. Even disease is celebrated. Like that, celebration must be the way of life. Why? Because when you are in a celebratory mood, you are in a happy situation and you are inviting more and more happy situations in your life. Therefore, life must be one full celebration. I am not going into the details of how you want to celebrate, but the celebratory mood must be there, and you try to invest a lot of energy, time, and thoughts in that celebratory aspect of life. If you understand the contrary, you may be able to appreciate. If, let us say, a person watches only TV serial all the time, and most of the time, to extend the TV serial in all languages, whether it's Hindi, Bengali, Telugu, Tamil, Malayalam, whatever it is, they want to extend the TV serial, and therefore it will have a lot of plots and subplots, and most of the subplots are centered around so much negativities, right? Husband cheating on the wife, a wife plotting to kill mother-in-law, and mother-in-law is plotting various things like that. So the whole family itself is like a very, very negative atmosphere is what is promoted. It is just a serial. You may say, I see it for entertainment. But when you get completely involved in that serial, when you invest a lot of time in that serial and energy in that watching that serial, what you are not understanding is you are putting your thought forces powerfully in such a way that you are intensifying the negativities. And therefore, when negativities occur in your life, you do not know where it is coming from. But the point is, you have invested a lot of thought forces in that direction. So that is why See, I am not against serials. For fun, you can watch serials, but you must have the objectivity. You must watch a cricket match also. You can watch something else also, a comedy serials also, but it's fine. But your intellect must be strong enough not to get involved in it. Are you having that objectivity to just watch it as something and just forget it about it? No. When our mind is not in that stronger position, we invest a lot of intensity into that. And that is what is going to come back to our life, because unconsciously you are putting that command into that universe. And universe pays back. It is meticulously like a waiter taking the order from you. That's all. And afterwards it will serve the food that you asked for. When the food comes, you don't say, I didn't order this. You did not know, but you ordered it. So therefore, this universe functions like a genie, and it does not understand don't. It only understands what thoughts you are investing in. So don't or do, it does not matter. Like or don't like doesn't matter. I'll give you a practical example. You may think about it. Again, I'm saying even in this class, you are not obliged to, agree with whatever I say or whatever has been said. Even in the book, Vedanta Treatise, Swamiji takes that stance. Go through that book, read that book. If it makes sense and try to apply it in your life, then you find it true, then move ahead with it. Like that only is the spirit here. You try to see the logic, science behind it and try to apply it in your own life. Then probably you will get the truth behind it. In 2004 and later in 2009 also, the elections that were fought in India was centered around, if I may say, Sonia Gandhi. In 2004, NDA got 7 seats only less than Congress, and yet all the communists and everybody came to power, and Manmohan Singh became the Prime Minister with UPA chairperson was Sonia Gandhi behind that. And we need not talk about politics. It is not one of the good regimes. That's all fine. But many people even thought so. In 2009, there was a strong intensity that Sonia Gandhi should not come. But remember, all the thoughts, some people were for Sonia Gandhi or Congress, some people were against Sonia Gandhi or Congress, but the whole election was centered around Sonia Gandhi. So the now opposition candidate, which was LK Advani in 2009, was like a figure which was not in the thought of many people. It was sort of a positive thinking about Sonia Gandhi for somebody, negative thinking for many about Sonia Gandhi, but the center of attraction was Sonia Gandhi. So she came back again. Okay, what happened in 2014 again? The whole thing shifted to Narendra Modi. That's all it is. Some people did not like, some people liked, whatever it is. The election was centered around him. And the same thing happened in 2019 also. Many people were against Modi. So their thought process, they don't understand this. I'm not here to support Modi or against Modi. There are various other issues there. But we are talking about what has happened. It is the collective thought force of every person that has propped him up there. This is actually the history of all over the world. This is what is going to happen. This is what has been happening also. Have you ever wondered, Europe during the medieval ages, it was a very dark period, very dark period. Church was ruling the roost. Lot of what you call superstitions and other things. So witches burning and very many things are happening. It was a dark medieval age of Europe was like that. Then came the Renaissance period. In the Renaissance period, lot of thinkers, lot of scientists, lot of painters, lot of poets, lot of various other people dotted the entire Europe, England, Germany, France, everywhere that was there. More or less in the same period. Galileo, Newton and various mathematicians were there, Copernicus, Shakespeare, Wordsworth and various other great poets, Milton, they were all there. So many other painters and Renaissance preachers were there. Why? You have to think why. When there is a suppression of the thoughts, suppression of the natural blooming of the mind, whether by church, whether by any authority, whatever it is, that irresistible urge from within to find out a solution that came up. When that came up, everybody's thought process was to liberate. was to learn, was to know. And therefore, you create by the demand of this thought process a supply, which is a Newton, which is a Galileo, which is a Copernicus, which is Shakespeare, which is Wordsworth, all these people there. Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo and various other people. So why many of them have to dot more or less the same geographical area at the same point of time is because of the power of the thought flow. Swami Ramatirtha gives this theory with reference to why we were enslaved by the British. Whatever Indians do with reference to prayer, it is much more intense because our way of life has been like that, prayer. Okay. See, in the West also people pray. We also pray. For them, the intensity is, suppose every Sunday you have to go to church, or you do this namaz or whatever you do. Therefore, the relationship with God is like one more thing in life where you do your thing on a Sunday and be a good person. Generally, that's about all. But when we invest in prayer, it is we invest lot of thought, lot of intensity in it. So he says, post the Mughal rule and other, lot of bhakti movement and other things that were there, the mindset of the people had so much, both Muslims and Hindus, he is saying that you are the Malik and I am the Das, that you are the master, I am the slave, that you are the master, I am the slave. This thought they have been encouraging through their bhajans, through their kirtans, through their thought process, very genuinely. And when they say it, that to Ram also they may say, to Krishna also they may say, to Shiva they may say, very genuinely they say. But they are putting this thought process that I am a slave, I am a slave, I am a slave, I am a slave. What will happen because of that resultant thought force is that you will become a slave. God came in the form of British. That's what he says. In the sense, we are not talking anything about justifying the barbarians, British coming and ruling us and completely destroying India. We are not talking about that. We are talking about a thought process in you, which is the demand, which creates that supply. And again, look at the period of middle of 19th century to middle of 20th century, one of the glorious periods of Indian Renaissance. All over India, and particularly starting from Bengal, how many great stalwarts came? Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, Vivekananda, Swami Ramatirtha, Mahatma Gandhi, who was also based in Sanatana Dharma even for a good portion of his life, in the proper way, I would say. Subramanya Bharati, incidentally today, 11th December, is the English birth date of Subramanya Bharati, one of the greatest revolutionaries and poets of Tamil Nadu. He lived also a short life. So all Bala Gangadhar Tilak, Lala Lajpat Rai, all corners of India, I am saying, rooted in Sanatana Dharma. So many stalwarts came, so many stalwarts. Not only I am talking about freedom fighters and spiritual people, scientists, Acharya Jagadish Chandra Bose, Srinivasa Ramanujam, Vishweshwaraya, so many people, engineers, Nobel laureate, Rabindranath Tagore and other great poets. How come in this period so much of awakening came to India? Think about it. And why not after independence we have created so many geniuses? No, we have not created such geniuses. Why? It is because due to prolonged suppression, there was again this quest for liberation that came. And that liberation found the roots in Sanatana Dharma. And that liberation wanted to express itself in all fields. And we had stalwarts, Maharishi Aravindo, and everybody was there at that point. So these people appeared more or less at the same time in more or less in various parts of the country, because the collective thought force of the people was centered around that intensity of the thought flow I'm talking about. What happened after independence? It is like we wake up from the sleep, a long sleep, and then we think, oh, I'll sleep for 5 more minutes. And then you fall off to sleep. After that, it's not 5 minutes. 2 hours is gone. By which time all others have woken up and they are ahead of you. Exactly like that. When India awoke in 1947, it was way ahead of many countries, many economies, even at least in Asia. It was reflected in many parameters. But where are Singapore and Japan and China and Korea and other people now, and where are we? Why are we lagging behind? We just fell off to sleep again. So who did we produce in the last 50, 60 years? It is not that we have not produced. We have produced, let us say, or at least of late, the Tatas and Birla and Ambanis we have produced. We have produced Sachin Tendulkar and Virat Kohli and Ganguly and other people. Like this, we have produced also. So, in other words, when there is a lot of thought process about economy and other thing, we do produce like that. So, it is all according to the collective thought process of the people. That's what I'm trying to say. So, do not discount the power of your thought. And people think that suddenly a leader should come and he must jump from the heaven and set right all the system in this country. It will not work like that. You have to invest in it by your thought process in each and every case. So not only that, every Karunanidhi, every Jayalalitha, every Lalu Prasad Yadav, every Sharad Pawar, or every other person who we have got as leaders are also product of our thought process only. They are not independent of you. That's my point. What action they do, what karma they face, we are not discussing that. It is up to you for you to invest power. So what this knowledge says is, do not underestimate your thought power. Swami Ramatirtha says in 1900, Jan 1, 1900, start of a century, he says it is a sacred promise that Rama promises to wipe away the ignorance from this country within the next 10 years. And within the next 50 years, India shall be restored to her original glory. Let these words be recorded, he says. He writes that. And we all know in 1906, he died. Died means he attained Mahasamadhi in that physical form. He was not there. But the power of his Sankalpa is that within 1910, the freedom movement had caught each and every nook and corner of the country. And within 1950, we did attain the freedom and we did rise to that glory. Whole world, in fact, after the fatigue of World War II, was looking up to India for spiritual renaissance. France was tired. England was tired. America and Japan, which are all devastated after the war, they were all looking forward to Indian renaissance. Unfortunately, we lackened after that. That's a different story altogether. But the point is, Swami Ramatirtha had that sankalpa. That sankalpa is the thought power. So one person can have that thought power. It will be so much effective. So if that one person can be anybody like Swami Ramatirtha, it can be you, it can be me. Why? It is the same Atma that functions within you. It's the same Atma that functions within me. So do not underestimate the power of the infinite self within you. So as you think, so you become is a 100% working law. Those who have wanted to be really the millionaires, they have become millionaires. So now the question arises, how do we analyze our thoughts? How do we change our thoughts? It is the fact that your thoughts become things. Okay? So coming back to that original question, I don't want alcohol. Why does alcohol come to me? I don't want gossiping friends, but why do friends gossip? And I'm drawn into it. Deep within, it is not that you don't have the demand. The Scotch whiskey bottles start moving in Scotland because you have a demand here. The moment you are able to genuinely get out of that demand, if you are genuine about it, they don't appear into your environment and disturb you. They will go to some other place where there is a demand there. So your thought process has that power to move the bottle somewhere so far off also. That is the power of the thought process. But why don't we understand this? When you have given the order in the restaurant, you may not be aware. You are talking with friends and you are doing something. You are not aware. So most of the time, our thought process is done unconsciously also. Unconsciously, we don't do. But when according to your order, the thing comes, you cannot say, I did not want it. You have order. You have to pay the price. You have to eat it or whatever it is. There's no other choice. So the question arises, how do we monitor our thoughts? How do we monitor our thought flow or intensity of a thought flow? If we agree to this, that it is the intensity of thought flow that creates your environment, you need to work on monitoring your thought flow. It is said that a human being entertains or the number of thoughts that run in, I do not know how they calculate, but it's like 60,000 thoughts in a day. Many of the thoughts are repetitive thoughts. New thoughts doesn't come daily. Many repetitive thoughts are coming. And how do we understand these thoughts? These thoughts are in the form of our worries, in the form of our anxieties, in the form of our desires, in the form of our sulking, in the form of getting bored, in the form of shouting, in the form of various things, various thoughts get expressed, or in the form of excitement to see a match, in the form of wanting to eat the food. Various ways, various thoughts do come. Many of the thoughts, as I said, are repetitive thoughts. Over a period of time, they come up again and again. Daily, your thought of food will come daily, or physical pleasure, or something like that. That is there. So when there are so many thoughts, so many thoughts, how do we even manage to monitor them? It is impossible. First of all, you don't have time to escape from these thoughts to even look at these thoughts. Okay. And if at all you have, how do you look at these so many thoughts that are running in our system? It's impossible. So one shortcut formula that you can use is that look at where your emotional quotient is high. In other words, emotions and feelings are indicators of your thought frequency. I repeat, emotions and feelings are indicators of your thought frequency. How do we differentiate emotions? For those who are new, I'll just put this chart. It's a basic lesson, but it's just worth revising once. So we talk about this mind and intellect here. Body is the outer personality, okay? That is the external body. Forget this body now. There are these two things. There is this mind and there is this intellect. Body only does the actions, but it is the mind which is full of these feelings. Now, what is this mind? Mind is the seat of your feelings. There are certain times you feel something gurgling out of your system automatically. Whenever there is a feeling, whenever there is an emotion involved, lot of intensity of that thought process is involved there. That is when it gains weightage. So the moment, let us say, a person is liking something, you like a car, or you like to drink coffee, whatever it can be. The moment you intensify that thought by additional thought process, you create a strong feeling towards it. Conversely, wherever there is a strong feeling, you can indicate that your thought process is centered around that object or that being. Now, what is interesting is, these feelings could be positive or negative. Anger, jealousy, these are all feelings, negative feelings. Love, gratitude, these are positive feelings. Positive feelings is only love in different forms of love. That's all. Kindness is one form of love. Charity is another form of love. Gratitude is an extension of that love only. So all this is the positive feeling. Whether it is a negative feeling or a positive feeling, and you will find that when there is something that is immediately pricking your system, what you create or what you send as frequency is this negative feeling. Once that feeling is there, the thoughts gets intensified further. And once the thoughts get intensified further, that is what you are actually inviting in your life. Therefore, you monitor rather your feelings. Rather than your thoughts, you monitor your feelings. If you are able to convert your feelings into a sense of positivity, into a sense of happiness orientation, then you can be sure that your thought process will also be positive. What is the, see, everybody in the world, now there are so many management gurus, so many motivational speakers, so many spiritual gurus also, and everybody without fail says positive thinking. Positive thinking. You must think positive in life. You must not have negativities in life. This is correct and this is good also. But the question is, what is positive thinking? And how should we do it? In simple languages, there should not be any not or don't in your thoughts. That's all. You can never say, I don't want to get late. Don't say that. It's a correct thing only you are saying. I don't want to get late. You only say that I must be punctual. That is the thought process you must have. This is called positive thinking. As simple as that. When you are watching a match, let us say, I'm talking about a very simple thing. Nadal and Federer are playing. You are a Federer fan. Okay? You want Federer to win. Innocuously, nothing wrong with it. Don't say Nadal should lose. Say Federer should win. Think in terms of victory for Federer. Exactly like that. Don't say, I'm saying, if at all, if you have some positive person in mind, say that he must become the Prime Minister. Don't say Modi should not become the Prime Minister. In other words, you are intensifying more thoughts on more. I'm just giving a formula. Don't take it literally. You please go and vote for whoever you want to. But my point is, what is it that is, so even in the whole collective world, people are saying, let us say no to terrorism, no to war. What is it? Don't say that. Because again and again you are thinking of terrorism. Again and again you are thinking of war. It will come 10 times, it will come 100 times, it will come. Why don't you say, I want peace. I want honesty. Oh, corruption, corruption, corruption. The whole world is corrupt. The government is corrupt. People are corrupt. Private is corrupt. Public is corrupt. Always we think of corruption. Always we talk about corruption. Always you invest your feelings in corruption. What will you get? You will get a corrupt society only. You will get a corrupt government only. You will get a corrupt world only, because you are centered around this. So even irrespective of whatever is the Kali Yuga, whatever is the society, your world you can create in a way by your positive thoughts. And that positive thoughts is to be clear of what you really want, and that you ask as simple as that. Here we are not talking about spirituality, renunciation, Atma and everything. Even what you want in the world, nothing wrong to have a car, nothing wrong to have a company or profit or anything like that. Focus on that. If you look at this movie, Guru, I'm talking about the Hindi movie Guru, Maniratnam. It's about Dhirubhai Ambani, I think. It talks about how he rose from an ordinary person to become one of the great industrialists in this country. So there are some government rules and regulations, and he's saying this should happen. The other person is saying, no sir, it will not happen. Then he says, mere kaan mein na shabd nahi sunega, something like that he says. I don't know what that dialogue. He says, this no word, it doesn't enter my ear, he says. Forget about whether Dhirubhai Ambani was that or not, but you think about this concept. So you must never think in terms of what not you want. Don't think in terms of what not should happen in the world. However good your intentions are, however great your feelings for others, don't ever think in terms of, now also I should not say don't think, that itself is wrong on my part. Think in terms of what has to be done. Think, see, even if a project is there for Rahi also, this happens. I must tell it because it's a good thing to relate in a context of this topic. When we had Swamiji's seminar, I am sure Pradeep will remember, in 2000 we had the first seminar in Calcutta, 2001, stress management seminar in Taj Bengal Hotel. 2 years back only we had started the seminar, 1999 end. First it happened in Pune, Bombay, then Calcutta chapter came in 2000, and 2001 we had the first seminar. At that point of time, Swamiji took seminar, he used to take 1 day seminar. 1 day seminar means 6 hours in which 4 sessions are there. The topic was stress management 1 year, time management and productivity and success, like that, various topics, leadership, like that, various topics were there. First, why we had the seminar was that students like us, and that was the time academy was little growing and we graduated and we wanted to also spread this knowledge further. And when we took the knowledge to the corporate, it helped the people who could not attend Gita lectures. Plus, it definitely helped the academy in terms of revenue collection also. So at that point of time, if we want to position Swamiji as a speaker and we want to keep a prize for him, in Calcutta it was 7,500, in Bombay it was 9,500 per day for the seminar, which was not a cheap price. It was a costly, I do not know, but at least one of the highest paid speakers at that point of time was our Swamiji. So when we were enthused, then the meetings came because seminar was spreading, and how to market it, how to meet people, how to convince them. So the meetings will be there. So deliberately Swamiji will increase the price. Let's say from 8,500 to 9,000 he has increased. And we are working, and that is, we are charged with the knowledge, but when we meet the people, reality, maybe in 10 appointments, one may click or something like that. So it is a very, what to say, but it is a great learning experience, but it is a tough process of marketing this knowledge. Because here we are not giving you some breathing technique or something by which end of the day stress will go. It is a hard process of putting this knowledge into that person in that one day that he has signed up, so that later he is going to follow up with this knowledge. So it is not going to be a easy thing. So in the meeting, we will be talking about maybe recession, maybe in Pune the industries are getting closed and it will not happen. So Swamiji will immediately pounce on us and interrupt and say, this meeting is for thinking and deliberating how the seminar will happen. Don't give me 1,000 reasons why it will not happen or why it is difficult. And I am not saying that if 20 people are there, 100 people are there, it's very good. Anyway, I will come and talk. That is not the point. It is given an opportunity for you to market this knowledge and spread this knowledge. For you, it is a karma. For institution, it could be funds. And for the speaker, it is just a day, that is the time that is given. But what are you deliberating on? All the while we are sitting in the meeting to think in terms of how it will not happen or why it is difficult. And this collective thought process is going to make it more and more difficult. Why don't you think in terms of what strategies we can apply to make it happen? Should we do digital marketing? Should we create a new list of records from Bengal Chamber or India Chamber or whatever it is? Should we form a team with the class members? These are the ideas. These are the ways. So think in terms of how to do it, how to make it happen. So any meeting that comes, even for your company, I'm saying, or even in any negotiation with your partner, with your client, be clear of what is to be achieved and only invite those people who will talk in terms of how to make it happen. Can we meet the government? Can we meet even Prime Minister for this? That must be the thought process. That must be the idea. Never think in terms of, sir, it is not possible. Nowadays, people don't have money. Now it is COVID situation. Now it is pandemic. So it's okay. To do this, you don't need a big brain. To talk about, any gossiping person will say, you ask the rickshaw fellow, he will also say this. You don't need a deliberation for this. Where does Vedanta come in? It wants you to put that positivity in you. Again, remember Swami Ramtirtha Sankalpa, one person he says India will be free means it will be free. The same Subramania Bharati, I'm remembering today because it's birth anniversary also. He says in Tamil, Poludhu Pularndhathu Yam Saitha Tavatta. The sun rises in the east because it is my tapas, he says. Nothing to do with ego or anything. That is the intensity of the tapas. That is the intensity of the thought process. So, why do you want to even discount the power of your thought process? It is the same power that you have. It is the same power that I have. So, never, in other words, you cannot, what to say, if you think you are a sparrow, you are a sparrow. That's all it is. You cannot fly like a pigeon. You cannot fly like an eagle. But Vedanta says you have the capacity of being an eagle or more than that also. That potential is there. It is for you to unlock it. It is for you to open it. So one main process, of course, we don't have time. We will continue in the next class. But I'm saying one major thing in this is never think in terms of what you don't want. Never think in terms of why it will not happen. Never think in terms of how it is difficult it is. Yes, realistic targets, all that is fine. But always think is, this is possible. This is achievable. Yes, I can. This thought of a thing, this is what Hanuman also shows when he jumps from the mountain and crosses to Lanka. He says, I will definitely find Sita. If I am not able to find Sita, I will take the whole Lanka and bring it here. That is the conviction. So that must be the thing. So and why he says he is not talking about me, my egoistic power, because he says I am the arrow of Lord Rama. So when I consider my power, I may have limited power. But when I consider the power of the Atma within, I have infinite power. So why should I not go along with that? So consider yourself just to be the instrument, and the power that is operating from within you is the same infinite power. It expresses as your thought, that's all. Therefore, you need to work on the thought process. And how do we work on this thought process? What is the way to even get that desires fulfilled, etc.? And what are the other practical tips involved in this? We'll take it up in the next class.
Poornam Adah Poornamidam Poornat Poornamudachyate Poornasya Poornamadaya Poornamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.